Hello and welcome to episode 76 of VocTerGaming. I am your host, the vocal terrorist, Jesse Rain, and we are here with game 2 of this short little series between these two players. First up, we have the pink/purple Zerg. He is Millennium's Stephano. And spawning in the south, we have our green Protoss, one of my favourite players to watch. He is Grubby. So, for those of you who watched yesterday will know, Stephano, very, very good player. The reason that I picked these games is not just because of my love for Grubby, not just because Stephano has been making news, making headlines in the Starcraft 2 world, but just because I really wanted to see how their styles meshed. They're both very greedy, very macro-oriented players, and we saw that yesterday with what was an incredible game. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch that as well, because that was fantastic. One of the longest games, in fact, I've ever casted. Although, as of last night, not the longest game I've ever played. Or rather, not longer than the longest game I've ever played. Because last night, I spent 40 minutes hunting down some guy hiding expansions. That's it. 40 minutes. 58-minute game. First 18 minutes, crush him. 40 minutes hunting down expansions because he killed all my supply depots and I had one SCV left. Such is life. Stephano once again going for that early pull, but will not be getting gas with it. That's just not what he does. So he won't be going for the quick speedlings, which would perhaps allow him to punish the fast expansion of Grubby that will no doubt be going down. You can see the money building up there, and there comes the probe. So he is definitely going to be dropping that fast expansion. Yep, there we go. Stephano, of course, will be intending to do the same with this drone, but this probe is going to be here, being thoroughly annoying, much like he did in yesterday's game, and stopping it from occurring. Forge goes down next for Grubby. So we are seeing pretty much the same opening as yesterday with the pylon block there as well, just thoroughly annoying. You let that mostly finish, then cancel at the last second. Potentially even building another one. Just as you cancel, and probe in the way again. Absolutely brilliant. Pull back, recharge shields, and then as it drops, nope, not going to build the next one. He's using that money for other things right now. He's using that money for the gateway. So that hatchery does go down, slightly delayed, but there are Zerglings out. That's just what Stephano does. He will push down here. Unfortunately, again, this cannon will be finished in time. The wall off is complete. It's only this one little area that units can get through. And here come the Zerglings. Oh, perhaps not. Maybe that overlap is enough. It's always hard to tell with the Protoss warping in buildings. Can never tell whether they're beginning. Oh yes, that is a complete wall finally. So there will be no way in at all for these Zerglings. They will just have to sit there and watch. Meanwhile, Stephano fast expanding again, dropping down a hair. Cancelling that. Oh! Interesting there from Grubby. Actually allowing the Zerglings in. I'm not too sure that was the best of ideas. What are you doing, Grubby? Grubby now losing probes, which he just didn't need to lose, really. A complete error in judgment from him. The Zerglings, of course, will not take this Nexus down. This Zealot that spawns will be enough to kill two Zerglings. So yes, Stephano is getting the quick third expansion as well, right off the back of his second. I like that. It's greedy. It also makes up for going pull first. Of course, now the thing with this is, right now, this will not make a huge difference to Stephano's income. He'll be able to get a few more drones out at a time, but aside from that, what it gives him the advantage of is a couple of minutes down the line, about the 15-16 minute mark, where he will have full saturation on 3 bases, and that will have been going for some time. It also means it will be longer before this is completely mined out, because of course he will be sharing units between 3 bases, not 2, which also gives him an advantage into the late game. Now these Zerglings are doing a lot of damage. Finally, it looks like we'll get driven off. He should get caught here by the probes and Zealot. But of course he is seeing everything. He's seen that the double gas is down. He'll have seen the sentries coming out. So he'll know exactly what Grubby's doing. Grubby's dropping a robo facility now. Unfortunately, that Zergling does die before Stephano gets the chance to see that robo facility, as far as I'm aware. Yes, he doesn't know the robo facility is there. However, I imagine he will guess. Seeing the double gas means you're not likely to follow this up with a ton of warp gates. It pretty much signifies that you're going for some kind of Immortal or Colossus build, or even perhaps Templar. But generally from Protoss, it is some kind of robo build. Now, getting the warp prism again, I like this from Grubby. I like warp prism play. It's good recently, especially since the patch, with the upgrade to the warp prism armor, so they no longer die in about 1.5 seconds. They now die in about 3 seconds. But the point is, they are slightly more survivable than they were before. So, not much going down now. 4 more gates being added for Grubby. We will watch this warp prism as it goes. While this warp prism is travelling to the base of Stephano, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the SCF Open, which of course is currently dead because Logic, who was running it, has not been seen. I'm pretty much expecting a text any moment from him informing me of his physical address and informing me also that he's let the dogs out. So we will be running something in its place, assuming Logic does not respond. It will probably be an 8-man invitational instead of the SCF Open, but this drop is here now. Now force fielding the drones in. Unfortunately, he doesn't quite force field them in with the Zealot, so the Zealot will die, and that is not, unfortunately, the best. Now, warping in the Zealot into the force field, but the Zealot is going to get surrounded. This is not going as well as the previous one, the one in yesterday's game, where he really did manage to cause a lot of damage. As it is annoying though. And it does force that Queen to back off. Of course, the priority should be taking down that warp prism to stop more units being taken in. I think Stephano is perhaps new to this. I don't think he's seen it before, other than, of course, yesterday when it was played very differently. Zergling's in now though, so this should be the end of this realistically. The Queen should be over here throwing hits on this warp prism. Here we go. Finally the Queen is doing what it should do. Unfortunately she's going to drop Zealots on top of the Queen. Those Zerglings need to stay and defend. That's better, getting a nice round on the Queen there. And the warp prism does finally go down. So that harassment was nowhere near as good as yesterday's harassment. Yesterday did a lot of damage. Here instead we see just 8 workers killed instead of the 20-30 odd that he got yesterday. Hydras are out now for Stephano. Hydralisk Den is up, Evolution Chamber is up, along with missile attacks level 1. That's the Hydra and Roach upgrade. These destructible debris are going down, so he's going to be building a 4th base very, very shortly. Grubby, meanwhile, is getting the Robo facility. That's going to facilitate Colossus. It's building another warp prism. I like that. He shouldn't really have lost that previous one. And again, he's going for this early shield upgrades. I am not getting this at all. Weapons, then shield. No, he's cancelled shield now. Oh, what? He chrono boosted the forge, started shield, then cancelled it, and wasted a chrono boost. What are you doing, Grubby? Grubby is losing the plot right here. He is expanding to this base, but I really don't know what's going on. That forge does go down, so perhaps the cancel was a better idea, but it seemed like a very early cancel. Colossus on the way now. This wall has not been rebuilt. Of course, something in that wall was going to have to die. I always assumed it would have been the warp gate rather than the forge, but there we go. The forge is now down. Grubby is he's normally a very upgrade-heavy player. And right now, he is not being so upgrade-heavy at all because he lost his forge. Extended Thermal Lance is on the way for the Colossus, though. Spire is on the way for Stephano. Roaches are coming out. We have Zerg Missile Attacks level 2, the Roach Hydra upgrade. Groove Spines and Glial Reconstitution. That's the Roach movement speed, rather. The Observer does spot this 4th base going up, so Grubby will know exactly what is going on. He's now transferring main editing probes down to the 3rd base here. Not a lot going on. Both these players, again, very defensive, very, very cautious players, which isn't something I'm completely against. New forge is now being built. That will likely be here. Yep, forge going down at the back of the 3rd. where of course it will be harder to spot, but it will also be slightly more vulnerable to an attack. This is decently protected though. It is more protected than when it was at the front of the base. This back doorway in is of course no longer there. This is a change to the map. Of course you used to be able to get in through there, but no longer. And now we have Corruptors on the way as well. That's to fight the Colossus. And oh dear me, we are having an attack in the middle of the map that I'm forgetting, because I am not paying enough attention. Colossus, Stalkers, Sentry and Immortal. Enough to do some damage, but he needs to be careful because he doesn't want to lose these Colossi, and he is about to. Force Field's very good there, trapping off that Hydra Roach army, stopping them from getting in while he does the damage to this base. Unfortunately for him, he's going to lose the sentries, like so. He needs to get out of there. He's already lost one Colossus. Doesn't want to lose a second, but I'm afraid it looks like... No, it does save it. For now, at least. It is a frantic runaway. Immortals going down. They take time to build. They take up, of course, time at the Robo facility that you would normally use to build Colossi. Second Colossus does go down. That is not good at all. Using Force Fields to block that little gap in the wall there. But of course this gateway will die. This is the problem with walling off as a Protoss in the late game. Hydra Roach really does ruin your day. Cybernetics Core going down as well. Huge battle here. Hydra's being melted by those beams. He needs to be able to take the Colossus down. There are not enough Corruptors to kill them quickly, and there should be enough Stalkers to focus them down. Unfortunately, Hydra Roach is so good, so strong against Protoss, in fact, still, that he is losing a lot here right now. I still don't think this attack will kill him. If he could focus down the Robo facility, of course, before more Colossus pop out, that could do some real damage. Luckily for Stephano, it looks like he will just about hold. Not Stephano, rather. Luckily for Grubby, Stephano is, of course, the one attacking. What Stephano did instead was expanded up to this location, which I think was wise. Still, of course, putting pressure on, forcing cancels there. And again, trying to get close enough to focus down this Colossus. He's not going to be able to do it. He's warping in Zealots. Grubby's warping in Zealots to stop that from happening. That's a very good idea. Roaches will now die horribly unless they retreat. Oh! Do take that pylon down. It doesn't unpower anything, obviously, except, of course, for this gateway, should it finish building. I really would like to see him focus down this Robo facility. He could take it down so quickly, and it would, of course, mean one less Colossi per cycle. Immortal being made here from the second. In fact, Immortal's being made from both, because, of course, there is nothing now to defend the Colossus. This is a good idea from Grubby. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, though. Stephano is really putting the hurt on right now. Using the Colossus Cliff Walk ability there very wisely to escape those roaches and continue to do damage. So much is going on though now. The roaches are splitting off into different groups, coming in and doing damage, taking down cannons now. And again now running in fact into Grubby's main, where they're joined by a second group of roaches. Also again depowering gateways, that's really handy. Depowering the walkways. Protoss Ground Armor level 1 is on the way now. There is so much happening with this attack. In fact, this attack is very strong. This has gone on for much longer than I expected it to, and done a lot more damage as well. Finally, the attack in the main gets shut down, but more and more roaches are streaming in now. Stephano building nothing but roaches and upgrades. 15 Hydras now on the way as well to join this small roach force. The roaches will have to retreat though. There is enough now for Grubby to hold this off. This is just constant pressure from the Zerg. I'm really loving it right now. Stephano is so strong here. Now again attacking this Robo facility. Going to take down some Immortals as well. Does he get it? No, it's forced back again. Immortal versus Roach is generally a win for the Immortal, depending on how many Roaches you have and how many Zealots are there to help. That facility is going to go down. He should focus it down. He does. So that Immortal is stopped. That Colossus is stopped. And once again, Stephano is streaming units into the centre towards this Zerlager Watchtower. He's in fact now retreating. So it looks like that pressure is over for the moment. Stephano though, 167 food to 119. Twilight Council and a new Robo facility going up for Grubby right now. So I'm thinking High Templars with Storms. DTs are pretty much pointless at this stage in the game. 2 more hatcheries going down for Stephano, 1 at this expansion here and a macro 1 here. Already has the macro 1 here in the base, so he's going to be able to make so many units. Look at this! Jumping immediately from 160 food to 190. That is the kind of production that Zerg can offer a top level player, and I am loving it. Templar Archives on the way, that's High Templar, with of course the Storm upgrade, which I imagine he will get very soon after, because otherwise they are only useful against infestors. And now Hydra Roach engaging Immortal Sentry Stalker Colossus, and I'm afraid this is a win for the Zerg. Grubby is forced to pull back yet again, using Guardian Shield to try and keep the Immortal alive. Will he make it back to the base? He will make it back to the base. Stalker's now coming out to defend, but unfortunately he will not be able to secure this 4th expansion. Forces the cancel there. And now Stephano is almost double the food count of Grubby. If he just decided to really push in with this attack, I think he could finish the game right now. Ground Carapace and melee attacks level 2 on the way as well. Just totally winning the upgrade war here, which you should never ever do against Protoss. Protoss really need to win the upgrade war with what they have. You tend to see double forge quite often, but that's not happening today. Grubby is really falling behind. He's making Archons as fast as he can, but it's not going to be enough, I'm afraid. This is a huge army. And now it looks like perhaps he's positioning himself for a final attack. Will he or won't he? Stephano being very indecisive, I would say. I would have suggested an attack earlier. As it is, it looks like he wanted to wait for the upgrades. But Grubby is going to force his hand by pushing out now and trying to break this contain. Hydra, Ling, Roach, Corruptor right now. That is a really nice mix of units. Don't get me wrong, by the way, I do like what Stephano's doing. Containing Grubby on 3 base while he essentially takes the map is, of course, a brilliant idea. Creep spread, absolutely fantastic, connecting all these bases up. So that's something I'm really enjoying seeing from him right now. But I would just like to see him do more. He's banking a lot of minerals right now that he's just not using. He's going to help him remax, obviously, when the time comes for this big final attack. And just trying to starve Grubby on the 3 bases. I do not have a problem with that. Now, Immortals are going down again to the quick DPS of the Stalkers, to the Hydras rather. All those Immortals go down. This last Colossus is definitely going to die. And Grubby GG's, he has no forces left. Stephano takes game 2 and takes the series as well. Absolutely fantastic play from Stephano. Grubby really did not seem to be himself whatsoever today, which I think, for me, is all down to how Stephano played. I don't think necessarily it was Grubby having a bad day. I think it was Stephano's brilliant play really putting Grubby off. Of course, this is the last video for this week. There is no video tomorrow because of a combination of work and MLG. So I will be back next Tuesday with some more games. Meanwhile, please check out scforum.eu. Hopefully, you know, we can get some stuff going. Big shout out to Carnage Esports, who've picked up a couple of players from there for their Starcraft 2 team, including MX5, one of my favourite current UK players. Not yet what I would call a pro, but definitely a very fun, very good player, and someone I've enjoyed talking to recently. So, thank you very much for watching. I will be back next Tuesday. Catch you on the flip side.